They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to News from the Pew, where news happens around the interweb and we talk about it. Yeah, I don't have anything else quite funny to say at this moment, so we're just going to get into it.
Are you feeling any good cat or dog to eat?
Yes, you may be, depending on where you are, hurricane-wise, restricted to nothing but cats and dogs. And you'll be like, oh, those Haitians, they knew what they were talking about.
It was raining like cats and dogs yesterday, or last night, this morning.
I am Rick Barrett, The Armed Catholic. You can find me at thearmedcatholic.com, where you can pre-order my amazing book, The Armed Catholic. Please do so. And also, we are joined. I don't have any rain. It's fake fall right now in Texas, meaning it's not 90 degrees, it's 85 degrees. But I am joined by, as always, by the godfather of Catholic media, Catholic alternative media, the one and only, safe in his ark, Steve Cunningham, who just got, he has his plants outside. He just built a mini ark next to the plants in case he needs to evac. So you're seeing all the things in the Carolinas about the rivers. By the way, before we start joking about it, prayers for everybody that's in danger, and hopefully, damage, obviously, property damage is going to be a thing, but hopefully the loss of life is minimal. We all hope about that. But if it's the case, then they can all go on Steve Cunningham's ark and they should be fine. But he's okay because he's got his solar power and his grounding and all the other kind of things that
solar power. I wish
he's got 1,400 backup batteries ready to go. So he's ready to talk about the events of this week, which, despite the fact we're in a pretty crazy election cycle and it seems like a pretty crazy news cycle, not really like a lot of things. I mean, we'll talk about Diddy in passing, probably as a joke throughout most of this show, mostly because he's a psyop. And ever since Diddy got arrested, Mark Cuban has turned into the world's dumbest man. I'll make that connection later. But outside of that, we have some things we're going to talk about that you haven't heard, that you really haven't been brought out. Well, of course, we're going to talk about the hurricane, but we're going to get to the first thing. Do you want to talk about the hurricane first? Or you want to talk about the UN Pact for the future?
You brought it up. We can go ahead and start with the hurricane and get into globalism after. That's fun. That's fun.
I'm sure the hurricane will lead perfectly into globalism.
It's already passed. Helen's already gone. So that what's not coming back. So
yeah, that's right. So we might as well talk about hurricane. Is it Helena or Helen?
Well, let's let the meteorologist say it.
Fall tonight in Florida and the Tampa area. And guys, it's not looking good. 105-mile-per-hour winds. And look at the name of the hurricane, Helene. Coincidentally, that's my ex-wife's name. Our divorce was finalized this week. And if this thing is anything like her, it's going to take your car. It's going to take your house. It's going to ruin your damn life. All right, probably both the neighbors too. But I digress. But anyway, guys, I'm sorry to put my air out on the air, but it's been a rough week. And guess what? If you're in this area, right here, the Tampa area, you're going to have a rough week as well. Okay, and by the way, another coincidence, her mom and dad, Helene's mom and dad are from Tampa. So, hey, John, Marge, you're going to feel it too. You're going to feel the wrath of Helene like I have for the past 4 years. It's going to be aggressive. And you know what? Maybe, just maybe, if we're lucky, this thing is going to catch some of the illegals that the Biden-Harris administration let in and fling these Mexicans back into Mexico, right? You want to talk about deportation? That'd be the best way to do it. And look at this. Guys, this is not good, all right? Tampa, why the hell are you living in Tampa anyway? Let's be honest. Who wakes up and goes, honey, let's move to Tampa? Helene's mom and dad, that's who. And it's coming, guys. So this thing's going to be aggressive. By the way, I've never even seen purple before. Have we ever seen purple on the show? This is not good. And what the hell is that? This can't be good. You know what that looks like? That right there? That looks like Satan's butthole. And there he is. And if you live there, you're going to feel the wrath, just like how I felt the wrath of Helene. So Robert, Mike, thank you guys so much for raising a daughter that ruined my life. If you're in Tampa, get the hell out. I'm done.
This guy can't be real. That's not real.
John. Now in sports.
Yeah, right. Back to you. That is amazing. Real or not, I don't even care. That was beautiful.
If that was real, he should just retire up on top right after that.
Oh yeah, dude. Just peace out. You're never getting rid of that. So start a YouTube channel where you just make fun of hurricanes and just go from there, buddy. Because
purple. We've never seen purple. What is this? Who lives in
moves to
Tampa? Oh yeah,
There's actually some really nice people in Tampa. Really good parishes out there too. But yeah, that's. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry.
Florida kind of like when you name. It's kind of like you, Lieutenant Dan. Is this all you got? That's Florida.
They are. You saw the guy live stream during the hurricane. He was in his the first floor of his house in a kayak. He's like, yeah, these are my windows. I'm gonna have to replace all my switches. Yeah, it's not great. It's 2 a.m. He's sitting in a kayak.
If you ever see Jim Cantori show up in your hometown, get out.
Yeah, you're done, dude. That, and I think the Waffle Houses were actually boarded up in some areas. If your Waffle House is boarded up, the zombie apocalypse is upon you.
It's over. Go ahead and call it a day. You're done. Thankfully, the only time I've ever seen it happen was during Rona.
Yeah,
because right around here, the Southern Hibachi, aka Waffle House, never closes 24/7, 365. They pride themselves on that, and even if it's, even if the power is out, they somehow get power.
Well, they have the Waffle House power. They actually take all the grease from everything and they use it they have their own patent and it just creates power. That's how they keep going. It's self-perpetuating.
There's a gerbil that runs in there.
Yeah, he's chasing. The grease actually chases him, and he runs around the actual thing. It's amazing. It's actually technology that's so futuristic. Nothing Elon Musk could ever dream of. But the idea is,
here's some footage from my area, neck of the woods. If I can get it to come up, Pigeon River. It's usually not that high. Obviously, we're showing that just because, again.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Pigeon River. I grew up near. It went through us when I grew up in Calpan. So it's all. I mean, it goes from North Carolina all the way down to south.
And then you have I-40. I-40 East is apparently gone. Between Tennessee and North Carolina.
This guy had a great one. Here's exit 448, 447. And somebody had a great line of the earth is taken back. Here, Jimbo. The earth has taken back the entire eastbound side.
Yeah, that's
imagine that. Oh, there's no road.
Yeah. By the way, I guess we're stuck. I guess we're not going anywhere for a while.
Reverse.
Yep.
And we all saw that coming when they were having 16 to 20 inches of rain up in the mountains. That doesn't happen here, obviously. And there's nowhere to go but there's homes on, obviously, if you've been to the Appalachians, it's beautiful, obviously, and there's homes that are on the side of mountains. I wonder if they're still there. Because outside Boone, Thursday, they've been getting pounded since, what is today? Friday? They've been getting pounded since Wednesday. And because this darn thing, that thing wasn't even.
At one point, there was a map. It was pretty much all the way up the East Coast.
It wasn't even in land yet. It wasn't. It was still down. It was still by Tampa. I was still in Tampa. We were getting hit by hurricane stuff. Now, Wednesday, just the mountains and Greenville. The upstate South Carolina were getting hit. Tornado warnings all over the place on the west side of the Carolinas. And there was a hurricane. There was a tornado in Blowing Rock. Which you ever seen? Let me see if I can find. Have you ever seen a hurricane in a mountain? You ever seen that?
No, I have not seen a hurricane in a mountain.
That was something. I was like, holy smokes! I mean, I've heard people's stories about that in Montana, but they're in the one. Where is it? Oh,
so the thing that was worrying people outside, everybody was worried about Florida, obviously, because Florida was going to take a direct hit. Florida always does. But there were people mentioning like, hey, guess what? There are people who live in Appalachia and up in eastern North Carolina, West Virginia, who don't deal with the amount of rain that is about to be dropped on their head. And so the flash flooding, which we're now seeing, that was what everybody was really like, hey, Florida's going to get hit. We know that. But they kind of know how to deal with it, for lack of a better term. The people in Appalachia and all these other places, they're going to get hit with I don't want to say generational because that's type of stuff is used way too much.
In
But
a sense, because it was 19 teens, they had this massive flood in Asheville area, which is pretty much getting its butt kicked right now. Well, they're done, it's done now, but they're underwater. And they did have Hurricane Fran in 2021, and they say they learned a lot from that. Hurricane Fran went through it. Now, we never had a Cat 3 come through here. I mean, man, oh, by the way, that thing was a cat. If I have the article here where they said that this thing was not going to get over a Cat 2 and ended up being a Cat 4 real quick. I don't know. I thought I had it saved up here. I guess I missed that. But yeah, it was just a couple days ago. He was a cat, went from tropical storm Cat 1, Cat 2, and they said Cat 2 was going to hit Tallahassee, and all of a sudden it went up 4.
Yikes.
Like I said, call me crazy. That usually never happens. But then we don't do any global or climate.
Well, I guess they hit the cloud seeding even harder just to make sure it got up to a 4.
Yeah, weather modification. That never happens or anything like that. Yeah, there's that thing. I mean, there's no hurricane that goes from in the middle of the Gulf and is kicking the crap out of the Carolina. We had a tropical storm warning Thursday, and the blasted thing didn't cross into the land.
Preemptive. It was a preemptive warning.
But
the
damage here where I'm at is I didn't lose a pepper plant, a green pepper. It is broken in half. So I took the roots that are on it, I had like 15. So it was heavy.
He was this close to showing the actual damage and saying we will rebuild. He was devastated. People are losing their homes, and Steve's like, my plant.
I didn't have anything. Nothing else got knocked over. A couple flowers got knocked over. I say this not in jest, but I'm all sold on the St. Peter, Verona, St. Peter the Martyr palms. And even when all this went down, it was like, damn, my wife was saying, we got a tornado warning, which there was a twister that went about 5 miles south of here. Yesterday, the day before, someone got it on video. And it's funny because no one does any journalism. So all these TV stations were texting this guy, tweeting this guy, can we use your video in the news? But yeah, we lost everyone down the street, and literally around our corner was a tree down. And then about another half mile up is a gigantic tree down. Because Charlotte was getting 60, 70 mile an hour winds. Boone was supposed to get up to 80, 70, 80. Again, I mean, you get sometimes in the winter when they get a blizzard up there, yeah, sure, but not with this much rain. There's a video of Boone in the main street, and it's a river Boone now. We'll go up there for Tweetsy. There's a little amusement park, railroad chain up there. But yeah, no, I lost half a pepper plant. Rest in peace. It will grow back.
We will regrow.
It will regrow.
So I just want to give a shout out because we don't see him on our screen here because we're using StreamYard. But our guys on Rumble, we got 20 or so people watching right now. MK Ultra Pagalone. I'm an idiot, so I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. You guys are commenting over there. Right Wing Frog Poster. Thank you for your support as well, guys. Appreciate it. Keep it up. I'll keep my eye on it now. Of course, Lou, how are you? Christopher, good to see you, and good to see you as well. Thank you. And Steve appreciates all your love and support in his time of need with the destruction of his plants. By the way, a friend of mine,
he texted me about. He lives 10 minutes away. But they've been out of power for 6 hours. He texted me this morning about it. He goes, "You guys lose it?" I go, "Yeah, we lost it for about 60 seconds." So I had to get up and go return the fans on in the kids' room so that they wouldn't get too hot in there. So I had to suck it up a little. Again, it's not a superstition. I have a big devotion to Peter, and named my last kid. His middle name is Peter because of him. And so I mean, I'm sold on the palms again. This is actually our second tropical in 2 weeks. We had one last week that took out the east side, which. Do you see the videos? There's homes. Mm-hmm. It was an unnamed storm because it didn't make it up there. And now it literally was last week. There's homes they built in the ocean. Have you seen that before?
Oh yeah, I've seen those. The ones on stilts. Essentially, I
Yeah.
don't know what they're called, but they have a lot of those in Galveston. We have a ton of those types of homes in Galveston where they put them on the stilts or they put them up. Yeah, man, and they just fall apart.
They're
They
upset.
just
Here's video one. They're
Yeah.
upset because the ocean is pretty much taking it back.
because the ocean is doing ocean things. Like
built-
you
you
built
told-
your
you built it-
house. Hey, go ahead.
You put it in sand in the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, and people are like, "Oh, well, this is crazy, blah 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 blah." Hey man, just you got to listen to Matthew 7:24. Right? The wise man builds his house on the rock. You people built it on the sand. What do you want? It is
Anybody
what
with
it
too
is.
much brain cells goes, you know what? You probably shouldn't just put it in the ocean. Just
Yeah.
on the Outer Banks where hurricanes come in, and people go, "Oh, global warming." Well, in the 1500s, there was hurricanes that came in and took out. You read about how they tried to establish Florida. How do you think they didn't get it established? It was you hear about the boats in the bottom of the sea. They had hurricanes, so it's hurricane season. It's after peak time. It's the downward side of it. We're only in the H's.
Mhm. Yeah. No,
They were predicting 24 this year.
Yep. And I mean this is like 10 of them together with the intensity and how big it was. But you know, all full
This is our
disclosure.
first. This is the first one that's actually big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're making up for lost time. Full disclosure, Steve was nice enough to send me some palms. So I'm bought in on it as well. My property, I've got the four corners taken care of. So whenever it's tornado season, you know, obviously I'm worried, but I'm like, you know, we're covered in that regard. We have we're blocked off nice and good. So I'm happy about that.
The Eucharistic Congress here in Charlotte was last month to the day, and I gave away the entire time for about 12 hours for both days. I'm doing nothing besides talking, giving things away, and cutting palms up and put them in little baggies. And I didn't get a time where I had like 50 sitting there. People were, I was telling the story over and over again, ad nauseum. You can ask my wife how I sell. It's always the same pitch for hours. So I think I talked about the palms for literally 7, 8, 9 straight hours without taking a drink. And so I mean, a lot of people in this area got him. It's kind of funny. I think that after that, 2 storms come through on the east side, one on the west side. And again, I mean, even yesterday, I woke up, they were predicting red all over this morning here, probably about 5 or 6 o'clock. I actually was up at 5 or 6, and it was just green. And it got red after you got past the place. But it's always fun to see that the red comes here and then just goes around and reforms. So yeah, we just had a lot of rain and wind, but yeah, Sacramento's, man, they're legit.
Also, yeah, this is going to be an easy answer, but you have the purple scapular in your house, correct?
Oh yeah. We got that for years.
Yeah, purple scapular, always. I got one. I actually have my purple scapular right over here, hanging over my Infant of Prague. So,
if anybody doesn't know the story, I got it on the YouTube channel, Sensibility. Type in Peter Martyr. The story goes he was the first Dominican exorcist martyr. He was first martyr to the Dominicans. He was an exorcist too, and what happened was he was given condemning the Protestants, given a big apologetic lesson out there, and they were yelling out, nah, 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 nah. And one of I think they jested at it and say, well, if you're so big and big and bad, and your God says, well, how come you guys are sweating and it's so hot out here? Why don't you cool it off? And he prayed for a cloud to come in, and there's actually a painting of that event when the cloud comes over them and cools off the Catholics, and you see them are sweating their brains out there in the 100-degree heat, just dying. So he controlled the weather. Because of that, actually, and you go on the .com site and you type in Peter Martyr, you'll see the prayer. I got the blessing of prayer. The first year I had it done I found out about it, and I got Father Smith in Greer, South Carolina, Prince of Peace, to do it. Had this huge box, old palms from Easter. I asked him, it's like, hey man, can you keep a box out to the side and we'll do this? He did the blessing. He thought it was cooler than anything. He never heard of it before. We had a tornado warning that day, black as night, 12:30 p.m. So I mean, noon. It is dark. The next day, people that didn't know what happened said, man, it felt like that storm went around us. There was a tornado here and there was a tornado here. In between, we had a drizzle. So again, I mean, I've seen hurricanes turn left, right. We were supposed to have the eye go over us and ended up going to the west of us. So again, like I said, these things they'll help you. They'll help you out. You can slap the Protestants around on Twitter because they don't know what they're talking about. They're a bunch of intellectual infants on there, but yeah, this stuff works.
Yeah, no, I'm 100%. I'm a believer. Like I said, I buried mine, so I am 100% in on that. So
He's over.
As of right-
I got him up here, right here. I got the ball in front of him.
that's how much he believes. He's got his
Give him
he's got
some
his
love.
corporate bouncy ball.
Well, it was for my back earlier. I couldn't move for a couple of weeks, and then ended up being a disc that was moved out of place for my 4 years doing Uber. So a chiropractor. Someone telling me chiropractor's from the devil or something. Well, it works. I haven't been converted to a Satanism since I've started either, but I've been able to walk. But now I got him right there, and I got a palm right behind the painting too. So yeah, that's again it's not just playing him, have the devotion to him, and yeah, it's a cool saint to learn.
Yeah, no, I mean,
They kicked him off
the Catholic Church has 2,000 years. That's always been my argument of tradition, of answers, about all kinds of stuff like that. So it's amazing. And that's kind of what my book, The Armed Catholic, which you can get on Amazon, is about, is the fact that we have, sorry, folks, it's going to be worse the closer we get to leadoff. So just go buy a book and I'll shut up. But the fact of the matter is the Catholic Church has the answer to pretty much every single question out there, and we don't take advantage of it. And it's kind of sad in that regard because of all of these kinds of things that take place. And it's like, hey, dude, you know, and when Steve sent me the palms, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, just bury him. And Steve's like, just bury him at the four corners of your property. And I went, okay, I guess so. And I did. And so
little home insurance policy.
Yeah, he's like, just do it. And pretty much I do whatever Steve tells me to do. Obviously, that's why we do this show. But the fact of the matter is, he's like, just bury him. He'll be good. And so
was that P. Diddy too? Voted out?
Yeah. P. Diddy should have been, he should have actually buried. Well, actually, no. If he buried him, then this house probably would have just like there would have been it would have just turned into a sinkhole and just gotten swallowed up with the amount of I don't know, degeneracy, I think you want to call it, happening there. And yeah, so in case you didn't know, the raid from, I guess we're transitioning away from the hurricane. We'll talk about this real quick. Diddy was arrested officially. Very strange during this time of year that, you know, with Kamala, just think about this. Take it as you will, folks. The race is not going well for Kamala, everything. So what do? They need a distraction. This is another distraction. We're talking about P. Diddy and all these other things. I tend to believe now, the more we look at it, that Diddy was a PSYOP, a CIA agent, whatever you want to call him, designed to get dirt on celebrities and all these other kinds of things. And I'll give you the example of Mark Cuban, because Mark Cuban has gone full stupid. He called the right-wing media. He called the media right-wing. He said Kamala she's got a great job at the border. Just these nonsensical stuff that you've never heard of. And it's because of the dirt that all these people have from going to these degenerate places. And so it's like, okay, that's not a great thing. But if you haven't heard about it, you're not missing out on anything. It's just another celebrity engaging in degeneracy that we all, if you're watching this channel and you're watching this show, then you have to know exactly what you're talking about. People in entertainment, people in politics, they're all into this. Not every single one of them. A lot of them are into debauchery and all this other kind of stuff. And all your worst fears about Hollywood and entertainment are pretty much confirmed with the idea of the Diddy stories. So.
Hey, if you want to, everybody wants to look up the Franklin cover up. First, do some massive prayers beforehand, because it is incredibly sick to learn what happened with that. I know Father did a lecture one time, and he mentions it's in one of the lectures. So when I listen to everything, I hear this, and my curiosity is, what is this about? And I have to, if I'm finding a photo, I have to, find something like that. I'm going, what is that? I think it was Franklin, Nebraska, or Kansas. And it was just these government guys all the way to the top that were doing child trafficking and the sickest stuff that you could think of. And everyone had dirt on the other, and it is bad. You talk about politics and Hollywood guys, and no one's ever gone and spent any time doing it too. So these guys, it's just like Epstein. These guys do it. It's great things for people to talk about, but nothing happens to them. Clintons, nothing. None of these guys will ever spend a time in prison. I mean, Epstein, they say he was in prison, and then Hillary comes in and suicided him apparently, but nobody really knows anything. But
Amy saw he died.
Yeah, and again, if you want to look up Frank, just type in YouTube. There's an hour-long thing that gives them the background of it. Again, terrible, but never been pursued. No one's ever gone to jail about this stuff. People are actually going after the guy that brings it up and tries to get him to shut him down. But yeah, it's just, well, hey, we don't want 4 more years of it.
No. We can't afford 4 more years of this.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Timmy. You're right, Coach A. Waltz. You're perfectly right on that. That's just the fact is they're cutting the greatest ads in the world for Trump, whether you like all that or not. The fact that they're talking about we can't keep doing this, we can't keep doing 4 more years. You're right, man. Of course, if you were, if we didn't have to depend on DC, right, Steve, then we wouldn't have to worry about it.
Again, he's winning. It's good. I think there's actually articles and things saying the polls are just showing that it's actually not even close. I think Virginia has it as a big landslide lead.
Well, real quick, let me jump in on that because Youngkin did this thing, and I think we talked about that, where he put the executive order in saying every ballot has to be paper and accounted for and have a tracking number on it. And as soon as they did that, they're like, oh, I think Virginia's in play now. It's crazy enough. When they were like, hey, yeah, they have to be paper and they have to be counted. People, and I don't know why, we're just talking about this obviously in jest. I don't know why every other Republican governor was like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. We should probably do that too. But
well, unlike the NFL, whereas the let's imitate the other guys who's winning the imitation league.
Yeah.
The Wildcat, everyone's doing the Wildcat the next year. They're not, as they say, the stupid party. They're not smart enough to figure it out.
No,
maybe it's a pride thing. We don't. Well, we can do it. Backstreet Boys. I did my way.
Yeah,
but if Obama is running the Democrat Party in the Senate, he's the puppet master below the real puppet master. If he's in charge pulling the strings, which he is, he's the one that got Brandon out. He was actually the one in charge during Brandon, and he's the one doing this. And by a show of hands, do you think that he would want Kamala be the first Black president woman, or Michelle? He's just in there. Again, you got Timmy saying these stupid things. You got Kamala on Oprah, and Oprah looks like she's ready to gouge out her eyes when she's going through it. And you got the screen. Kamala's needing a screen to go through that mess. And people are actually afterwards. CNN's even calling her, saying stuff like she doesn't answer the questions. You ask her something, and she goes, "Well, I come from a
middle class background."
Hey, how's the weather today? Well, I came from a middle class background. She's literally programmed just to say that. There's no way in God's green earth that I think that Obama's running this and going, you know what? I'm going to let Kamala be the first Black woman, not my wife who's going to beat me if I don't do it. Yeah, no, Kamala is just the sacrificial lamb. Again,
I called that from the beginning.
Yeah, but everyone, you see, like the remnant go, what if she wins? Guys, she's not going to win.
She's not going to win.
I was at the gym earlier today because everyone and their brother was there because then no one else except me has power. Because I'm going to ask the lady at the front, you guys giving away things? She goes, no, everyone doesn't have power, so they came here. And my guy goes, yeah, everyone in there is afraid that Kamala's going to win. I go, that's stupid. Why? Where it's the fear from TV, the media strings you along, gets you afraid, and your eyeballs, because of fear, turns on the clicker going, I got to watch, see where it is. No, it's a blowout. It's going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I don't think it's, Steve and I have been on the record saying Trump's going to be brought back in. So it's already determined. Joe couldn't hold on. That was the problem. The script was flipped because Joe, he couldn't muster up the image of a contested fight because he's just gone. He's an 81-year-old man who's on dementia, who literally, I keep saying, he should be in the situation. He should be, back at home in Delaware, surrounded by his grandkids, having a priest visit him every day to get his final orders in place. But since he blew the debate, which was designed, we all see that now in June, it was that they had to get him out and they had to bring in the POC woman to try and regenerate or resuscitate this race to draw interest for TV, for all these other kinds of things, to keep people interested. Because in the end, just like the NFL, just like the WNBA, just like anything else, it's all TV. It's all designed for TV, for ratings, for commercials and things like that. And, and there's a section of people that would have been checked out that are engaged in this because Kamala is there because of all of that. They still have, she's terrible at it. But then again, they didn't think they were going to pull that ripcord as soon as they did, because Biden just couldn't do it. We don't have video of it, but Joe is doing exactly what I've been saying for 4 years. Jill Biden ran the last cabinet meeting. They had a cabinet meeting for the first time that at least they videoed that they had TV cameras in. And Joe was like, yeah, well, we're going to do some stuff. Anyway, my wife's going to do this. And then she was like, okay, class. And like the binders, the presidential binder had his signature and her signature on it, because that's what she wanted. That was the culmination of marrying Joe Biden, was so she could have her name on the White House stationery. But people are like, yeah, you can't do that. We can't have Joe Biden be running the country.
And on top of Kamala, she's hated by everyone in there. I mean, 800 votes, 800. You take the entire continent, she got 800 votes. You or me could get 800 votes right now, and nobody knows any of us. Kamala, 800. There's actually evidence that she never prosecuted anybody.
No.
So she's literally have done nothing. And that's the thing. Is that what the feminists want? Somebody that pretty much slept her way to the top, literally have nothing to show for it. Did not do a darn thing except slept her way, heels up Harris, slept her way up. That's your feminist. We're getting behind. Magic Johnson comes on. What was it? What was the guy's show? I can't remember. One of the late nights. Praising Kamala. I'm going, oh, she's going to be good for the groceries. Dude, you got 11 billion gazillion dollars. What do you care about groceries?
That's a crazy thing with every single one of these celebrity endorsements. They're backfiring. The Taylor Swift one backfired because everybody's like, you got $1 gazillion. You don't care what the price of eggs are or any of this other kind of stuff. And you want to talk about all this other stuff. Now, this is a funny comment because I don't know if we talked about this when Joey B put the MAGA hat on when he was at that rally. I think one of the October surprises could be, and I believe I said this on a previous episode, where he's just going to be like, yeah, because he's already kind of said, he's like, I put Kamala in charge of everything. Like, I put her in charge of everything.
He was on The View and he's kind of like, slap the bug. And
yeah.
You don't put that hat on in a joke. You don't do that at all. I mean,
no, you burn it. But he's like, yeah, look at this. That's a
you
photo
throw it across
op.
the room or something. You make a big joke of it. You don't put it on for photo ops. I mean, and then carry it up Air Force One with him. There's a little more to that one. Yeah, I'm with them on that. Even though I'm not a fan of what Jack says because he goes the religion of Donald. Donald's the high priest.
He's a MAGA. He's a trad MAGA. He's not a trad cat. He's trad MAG.
Yeah, DJ said he's probably got these.
I have something incredible to share today. We are announcing the launch of Trump coins, a true symbol of America.
I love it. Trump is who he is. I love it.
And minted right here in the USA. This beautiful limited edition coin commemorates our movement, our fight for freedom, prosperity, and putting America first. We always put America first. It's more than just a collector's item. It's a testament to the resilience and strength of the American people, our American patriots that we love so much. This coin is composed of 99.9% pure silver with a beautiful proof finish, and it's really something very special. Each coin comes with a certificate of authenticity with my signature to ensure you have purchased a real Trump coin. I've seen a lot.
And you got the Trump.
I love the fact that there's people out there with fake Trump coins. Like,
It's like Spaceballs. You got Trump coins, you got Trump the book, you got Trump the sneakers, you got Trump the
Air,
Trump the lunch.
MAGA Air.
You got the hair, you got the fake hair, you got the hats. Yeah, people are saying I'm getting that new hat in. You get the t-shirts. Man,
Trump is who he is, though, man. Texas,
I know.
You gotta love him. It's in the middle of the election. He's like, by the way, I have
the Trump
mouses.
Bible.
They're beautiful mouses. Go get them at MAGA. It make mouses great again. It's beautiful. Everybody
The
loves
greatest
it.
mouses ever.
Greatest. You know, they say you can scan the internet and True Social even faster with my MAGA mouse. So he is who he is, man. Come on.
The Trump Bible. It was just everything. But and his fans, his devotees will
Just fight
like
everything
of a team. You're gonna get like the guy. People are giving people with the Oakland crap for grabbing soil
for the sand, for the dirt. Yeah,
that's what fans do. They do that. I mean, I would get that if we were at Yankee Stadium. I replied to that saying that I remember that my bud was trying to take paint off the foul pole, and he brought a screwdriver. We had to stop him from trying to take the seats.
Yeah, I mean, if Fenway Park ever closed, that would be akin to a cathedral closing in Boston. People would swarm it. They would literally take screws and be like, this was a screw from Fenway Park. Can you believe this? And so, yeah, that's just our secular society, man. You can make fun of it all you want, but that's a failure of the church to establish that and kind of stand by the wayside while they've allowed sports and all these other kinds of things to take hold. And yeah, it's kind of sad in that regard. But Trump's Trump, man. That's that kind of fanaticism. That's why you'll never be able to recreate the MAGA movement when he's gone. You may be able to keep the ideas of it, but you can't. Don's been a salesman his whole life. JD Vance or DeSantis, they just don't have the riz, as the kids say, to keep it going. They may be able to keep the ideas going, like if you're DeSantis, through showing, hey, look at all these cool things I did as governor, right? As the governor, I was able to put these policies into place. But the idea that somebody's going to be like, you buy my coin. And people are like, oh, I'll take 7 of them.
Well, speaking of not Pope, Freudian slip, Pepsi and Coke. Kamala and old Zelensky put together, and then also we're equal opportunity offenders.
There he is. Zelensky plays both sides, man. He's begging money from anybody.
Yep. Now they say that the whole thing was with Trump, and I agree. Putin can't win. So what is it? It's the same thing. Oh, we got Joey here's giving him money.
Right now, we have to strengthen Ukraine's position on the battlefield. And that's why today I'm proud to announce a new $2.4 billion package of security assistance. I've also directed the Pentagon to allocate all the remaining security assistance funding that has been appropriated to Ukraine, period, by the end of my term, which is January 20. And this will strengthen Ukraine's position in future negotiations. Second, we look ahead to help Ukraine succeed in the long term. As you know better than anyone, as we said at the Washington summit, we have to support Ukraine in its path to membership to both the EU and to NATO, and continue to make reforms to counter corruption and strengthen democracy, which you're working mightily on right now.
He goes on for another few minutes.
Yeah, it's just because he was trying to get a sentence out. By the way, there's also another. Oh, this makes me so angry. I'm glad you're showing it. But this is Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, signing, while Zelensky's in the background, signing bombs to go bomb a country we're not at war with, to kill people we're not at war with. And this is supposed to be some kind of, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to do a hark back to like World War II. And it's like, oh, we're going to make the bombs and the bullets to go get them over there. But folks, that whatever he's signing right there, a missile, rocket, whatever, I don't know what it is because I didn't care to pay attention. That's going to be used to kill an innocent person. What about the soldiers? Man, we're not at war with them. So to us, to America, that's an innocent civilian. I don't care what you think. We're bombing these people and it's being celebrated. It's being celebrated. The military-industrial complex right here. This is it in a picture. If you ever heard us talk about this is what it is.
Oh, here's just because you said the military-industrial complex here. We're also doing it to Africa.
U.S. president would do, say that C-130s are on their way to Niger today with the water and the medicine and the food our troops need, that they will have a full fighter pilot escort there. And if the Nigerian government or any other third world thug tries to even turn on their air defense systems, we should show those leaders and those thugs what the target package looks like on their houses. And
did you catch that?
Our troops, yeah.
Yep, they're bringing food in for just their troops, not the refugees or anything like that. Also, if they're flying into Niger and Niger defends itself, God forbid that you have sovereignty to defend some invading, land coming into you, will blow their homes, they'll blow their families apart.
Yep. Well, remember
family members.
So the way he has like this little pause before he says thugs, like he's like third world thugs. It's like he wants to say like the N-word. Like I'm hearing like a hard R, even though he's not saying it. For the time being, the United States has lost that battle. The United States military has officially all been expelled from Niger. So they are no longer in the air base that he's referring to. It's really important, obviously, that we defend Niger in this moment. I think we need to be super realistic.
Imagine that, they kicked us out.
What Niger has done is incredibly bold. Like, you don't kick out the United States military and not face any consequence. That doesn't happen, right? It's not like the United States is like, okay, you've given us the boot, we respect that. There's no reality in which, this isn't something where the United States is going to retaliate in some way or another. And so I really, really want people, like, if they take nothing else away from this entire stream, to understand that like this is the time to organize, to defend the Alliance of Sahel states, all three countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. If you're watching this from Kenya, if you're watching this from Zimbabwe, if you are, watching this and you're an African living in Japan, like you have to understand, like this is a window of opportunity we've had for liberation that we haven't had for.
You're gonna do. I wish we had the George Carlin clip. You better watch the blank out. You got some brown people in your country, and you just expelled the United States. You're gonna do the Ted Cruz from 2016. Turn it into a sheet of glass. We're gonna turn it into a sheet of glass.
Conservative, by the way, going into some foreign land, and if they don't let you in, you kill their families.
We're gonna bomb your house.
That's the level we're at.
What's the Family Guy one? The guy who makes the names is in the bathroom, so it's Operation Bomb the Crap Out of Your House.
Pretty much. But man, governors all over, they're in the news. You see, he's not governor, Mayor New York Adams.
Oh, yep. So in case you don't know what we're talking about, folks, Mayor Adams has been indicted, and of course. There's two sides to this. There's Mayor Adams being indicted and the fact that he's a corrupt politician because he's a politician in New York. But the fact is, you also have stupid conservatives being like, see how the DOJ is a weaponized system and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, let them do that to themselves, please. Just let them, don't have to like make this a big old deal. But the fact is, he's charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, federal program bribery, and to receive campaign contributions, wire fraud, solicitation of a contribution by a foreign national,
Turkey
bribery.
Yeah, a guy from Turkey. I was like, Turkey. He was like, I just thought it was a sandwich. So he got money from
Soros. He was
Soros.
giving me a sandwich. I didn't know this was actually bad.
Dude got money from Soros.
Yeah.
And here in North Kakalaki, you probably heard of our little shindig going on down here, right?
Yeah.
Full confidence so we can go on. We're getting resumes from all over. We're getting offers from all over. People are jumping in to help us. We've made a ton of friends in this thing since we've been in. A lot of talented people right now are reaching out to us, and we're right in the process right now of forming a team that we know can still lead us to victory. So we have full confidence in our ability to keep going.
But the timing of that, them walking away from you right now.
The timing doesn't matter. It's not the timing. It's how you react, and we are ready to react. And we're doing it right now. We're getting it done.
Robinson, you've talked about the reporting being salacious lies not true. Have you taken steps then to prove it's not you?
We
or
absolutely
find out?
are. We absolutely are. We're in talks right now, everything up to legal counsel to take CNN to task for what they have done to us. We are going after them. Okay, we are going to go after them for what they've done. But we have 5 weeks left in this race, folks, and make no mistake about it. We are not going to let CNN throw us off of our mission. Our mission is to win this race. And quite frankly, I am dismayed about the fact, as I said before, think about how many people out there right now, right in the place where we are right now, who are hooked on fentanyl, who are hooked on opioids, and how many will die tonight because of it. Think about what's going on our border. Think about what's going on the world stage. And this is what you choose to focus on. You've got these news cameras, news reporters, pens, pencils, your microphones. This is what you're focused on. You're not focused on the things that we talked about standing up there about our economy.
Woo! Yeah, right. Woo!
It was
let me
Ric
just get
Flair.
this out there before.
If he put his name in a hat, he would run governor with probably about 100% of the vote.
So before Steve gives you the actual breakdown, because that's his state, Robinson committed the cardinal sin in damage control. He didn't get ahead of the story, right? If it is or is not true, first of all, when he was running to be lieutenant governor, if this was even remotely on the radar as accusations, should have gotten it out there while nobody was paying attention. So that way, if this story drops, he goes, I told you all back when I was running for lieutenant governor, this was my past. I'm not that guy anymore. This is the reason why I changed, blah, 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 this and that and the other thing. So, and secondly, we got to stop treating politicians as saints. All right. Do this idea about voting about the character of a person? Pretty much everybody in politics is bad. Do you want good people? Obviously, we want Catholics and people that share our values. But if somebody has a past and is now different and then is championing the values you support, you know, he without sin cast the first stone on that one. And that's all I got to say about that. So Steve can jump in on that because that's his state. This is think locally, act locally, right here in a nutshell with Mr. Cunningham and his state of North Kakalaki, as he likes to call it.
You're talking to the Rolex.
Yeah.
Wearing. Yeah.
Diamond ring wearing.
Woo.
Kiss stealing.
Woo. Wheeling dealing. Limousine riding.
Since our boy takes, I had to bring up Ric Flair. I had to bring that up. Yeah, so he's at least he's got a law entity going after CNN right now, so he's going to try to lawsuit them. Stein, who's the opponent, has gone out. He's the one who put it out there. He's he doesn't want to debate him because he said he doesn't want to bring legitimacy to his candidacy. This was before this. Now he says that Robinson just step aside so that Stein could just run unabated to the gubernatorial seat. Of course.
Yeah.
And who's Stein? Stein is, well, just like any Brandon, Kamala, all those guys. It's the same talking points that they have. He's the younger version of Cooper. He's for baby killing. He's for LGBT. He's for all the stuff that you think of. And they hate Robinson because he's very anti-abortion, very against homosexual activity. He's a good old Southern Baptist boy. He doesn't like Catholics too much. I know that. Working on him, but yeah, he's what we would want to push for in the sense, and so they hate him for that. And if this was happening if he had a D by his name and the GOP was doing that to him, same guy, same person, CNN for sure and MSNBC would be calling everybody that brought that up a bunch of racist, Hicks, Lacey people, Neanderthal, knuckle dragon, all that stuff. Because they're going after a black dude in North Carolina. In the South.
Yeah, they would have had the imagery ready to go. They would have had the burning crucifixes and all that stuff ready to go.
Yeah. So I mean, is it true? There is some video that says that he admits. I don't know. You can't trust anything on video. By the way, I mean again, deep fakes. But again,
Steve and I have talked about the fact that deep fakes exist, and they're real good at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, like 15 years ago, really? Like you said, and even local news has said here, he's been great as a lieutenant governor. That was their quote. He's been great as lieutenant governor. Even this comes up, shouldn't matter, but it is, because he said stuff like he's the black Nazi and something about slavery wasn't a bad, which, I mean, if you really deep into things like that and you're going off the 3x5 card, it's not as bad as what they were talking about, what people say in Hollywood and what you say now, because winners write it. There's you read a lot of stuff, you're going, wait a minute, this is a little different narrative than what people say. Not that slavery is a good thing. No one said that or anything like that, but it wasn't as bad as they keep saying on shows and all that. Again, I'm reading. There's a couple books here that are going into that, and there's a famous loss. There's a suit in Florida where a slave was sued and won back in those times, and people say, "Oh, they didn't have any rights." They had rights. It was the North that was saying that they were not human beings. It was the Southerners. There was a guy, I think it was Iredell out of North Carolina. Yeah, it was Iredell. It was Governor Iredell said that these people are reasonable or rational human beings and should be treated as such. Mm-hmm. It was the North that didn't want it. But again, North writes they write the thing. They write the narrative.
The North had slaves. John Brown, the guy who Brown University is named after, was one of the main guys in Rhode Island who was responsible for the importation of slaves into the North. So, and of course, as Steve says, the winners, that is true where the winners are writing the fact that the North was always pro-freedom and all this other kind of stuff. It's like, if so, Maryland had slaves during the Civil War. they did. And people, that's not me revising. You can find the fact that slavery existed in Maryland during the Civil War. And the only reason they didn't get rid of it is because they were like, if we do, Maryland's going to leave and Washington, D.C. is going to essentially be defenseless. It's going to be in the South.
Delaware was done, didn't finish after the war was over. I mean, they found a moral code when it wasn't profitable in the slave trade anymore.
Yep. It's 100%. So, and of course, this dropping 5 weeks before an election, this stuff is always very fishy. And the fact that most Republicans who are going to vote for Robinson anyway, we're not going to be swayed by this because they're more like they're most likely Trump supporters, and they're most likely going to be like, well, they drop stuff about Trump all the time and they're lying about that. And the fact of the matter is, even if Robinson did this in his past, nobody's sinless, right? Nobody's sinless. And the guy seems to be standing for, and right, Steve's right. He doesn't like Catholics. So, we shouldn't be the ones caping up for him, but the guy seems to be standing for the right things. Babies should live, stop mutilating children, all these other kinds of stuff. It's the kind of guy you can get behind, even if he's not the biggest fan of you. And the fact is, North Carolina is a very important state, and they already have it. You guys have a Democratic governor right now, right?
Yeah, it was Cooper. He was the only D that won last time. It was red D. And
what about this? I heard this on Fearless of all places this morning, that the Romney wing, the Rhino wing of the party, is helping facilitate the I don't know, I'm trying to use a big word, but the sharing of this video out because they don't want a guy like Robinson in that position.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of the good old boys, as they always say. It was the good old boy party. It's just like after Reconstruction. Oh, by the way, not the poo-poo on your book, but not that I wrote it. You talk about a thick book on Reconstruction. Destroying the Republic and Creating an Empire. You talk about this will definitely change your ways of thinking. Got this one too.
Every time Steve holds up a book, I got to just hold up mine. It's just, proper.
When they were pushing those guys in, it was Republicans that is the radical Republicans that did it, and they hated the South. They were talking about killing anybody that fought and their families for the Confederacy at the time. They did not care. They wanted to exterminate. It was a military occupation in the South. Was this Reconstruction? You don't hear that in high school. Think about a military occupation wherever you were. You're not allowed to vote. We're going to put people in, and they put people they couldn't read in government positions, and they knew it just so they could screw it up even more. just so that they could take it over and rebuild. So the same mindset is still there in a sense. Because again,
also the states that were brought back in, the southern states, never got to approve amendments added to the Constitution.
Oh yeah,
they
yeah,
were forced,
14.
They
yeah,
were forced to accept it.
So let's go
Very
back to your thing. Yeah, he's an outsider in a sense, and obviously they want the moderate into the way of abortion and things like that. So he goes out there and says, pretty much what people say: abortion is murder. They don't like that, so they are trying to they're stepping back just so they can save face because they're getting the rats are jumping ship in a sense. Now the poll that they have is he's got Stein's got a 14-point lead. They did an Elon College thing, and it was 8. They cited 800 people, not a big group, but right now the lieutenant governor is going blue so far, according to this. Now it's a 3-point swing, and the gubernatorial way it's huge. Still got plenty of time to make up for
5 weeks is an eternity in politics.
Yep. Now, there is another guy that's down here. I found out he's in the Libertarian Party, and he's a homeschooling guy. And I actually reached out to him going, hey, man, you want to talk? Just because why have you been doing anything? when you sign up for doing something, you at least, get your name out there and you're pushing. I saw one sign of this guy outside of Bojangles. And the only reason I remembered it is because his name's Mike Ross. And it's that, if you watch Suits, you're like Mike Ross. And I go, that's the only way. I'm going, dude, how do you... And I read his stuff and went, I'm with you on all this stuff. Why aren't you pushing your name out more? But I have no idea. I can't even get the guy right back. So maybe he just put his name out as a joke or something. But it's people were saying that the entire union's watching North Carolina politics for the first time ever. And not too many people are liking it for obvious reasons, but I wonder how the lawsuit will go. If he has anything to fire. Stein has got nothing. That's all he talks about is the character assassination of Robinson. This literally the Democrat playbook, as you see in Kamala and other ways like that.
Yep. That's why they're forcing Robinson off message, which he did say, hey man,
And JD and DJT aren't saying anything for him either. They pretty much.
Well, I would even say Trump would, but I'm sure his inner circle of goons are like, just stay away from it right now.
Probably
just stay away, because Robinson and him have been photographed together. And if you've ever been a loyal guy to Trump, doesn't matter. Trump will back you if you pledge your loyalty to the Trump. That's one thing you got to give Trump credit for. Even when it's stupid and he makes dumb decisions, if you're loyal to him, he'll back you. But I'm sure his advisors are like, stay away from it right now. Maybe in a couple weeks you can, maybe like a week before the election, you can come down and do something, let it calm down a little bit. But it doesn't surprise me that because Republicans did this back when Trump in 2016 with the grabber by the hoo-ha. They all ran for the hills 5 weeks, 6 weeks before the election. I remember I was in a class as a supplemental instructor, and the instructor in the front, and I was at a college, he pretty much was dancing like the election was over when the hoo-ha came out. He was like, it's over, it's done. How can Trump come back from this? And I remember I got laughed out of the room when I said that 5 weeks is an eternity in politics. And all the Republicans, they always run away. If Robinson can just plant his feet and just say, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna stick in this race because I believe in the people, all the political blah, blah, blah. In a week or two, when something else blows through because you have this kind of election cycle, that's the problem when you drop this 5 weeks. Within a week, something else is going to happen that's going to have everybody, the squirrels chasing something else. And that's just, that's just the reality of the news cycle.
Yeah, outside the big cities, there's a lot of red. I mean, Cooper won. He got Soros money from both his dad and son. So as I look at it, it was outside influence. A foreign nation ended up sending money to our gubernatorial rating. That should never happen, but he got them both. They got them both, so the Dems will stay together. Someone brought that up and said that the one thing about these guys is these guys stay united in their. They might be idiots. They might not be able to finish the sentence, but they are together in the plan, in the globalist idea, which I guess we could go right into.
Yeah, that'll be a nice segue, Steve. That's a very good segue in that regard. Yeah, but because they're also being paid for it too. That's they find the dumb people to pretty much just regurgitate the talking points of globalist agendas, like the UN Pact for the Future.
The Summit of the Future is designed for the leaders of the world to take a look at the whole global architecture, at how we do international cooperation, and to make it better. The most important ingredient is trust.
Trust us, bro.
The summit is going to adopt 3 agreements: a pact for the future, a global digital compact, and a declaration on future generations.
The 3 things, Steve.
The Pact for the Future has 5 chapters on
The
sustainable
trifecta
development,
of doom.
peace and security, youth and future generations, science and technology, and transforming global governance.
Boom, boom.
You look at the UN and you think governments are the key players, and that's true. They're the ones sitting around the table, but they do so on behalf of their people. Civil society actors, young people have been involved throughout and will be at the summit. Private sector will be here in recognition of the massive role they have in shaping people's lives and opportunities today. This summit is for and by everyone, and everyone should see themselves reflected in it.
The BS button.
The summit is not just 4 days in September. Most of the seeds that we plant at this summit will take some time to grow and flourish, and all of us have to be involved in holding governments responsible for living up to their commitments on the international stage. It's going to take all of us to make this summit a success.
Yes, all the women in the B-roll footage. All of them, and make sure notice they're all perfectly cast, if you will, in to have that image. The idea, the Pact for the Future, the sustainable development and financing for the development, taking your money and pushing Soros money, intentional international peace and security, by whom I don't know, science, technology, and innovation, and digital cooperation, digital footprint, digital ID. Youth and future generations, if there is any, unless they bore, the little pod babies that they're starting to develop, and then transforming global governance, i.e., moving it all into a one world government. Just the perfect storm for somebody like Steve, who's been yelling about this for years, to say, "I told you so."
Yeah, think about it as a rebranding of the failed WHO pandemic treaty and global government.
There's nothing new under the sun, folks.
Global government, global healthcare, global. Let me cite something from this so far great book that I found. The South Was Right, by James Ronald Kennedy and Walter Donald Kennedy. And he cites Ingalls. And stop me if this makes sense, if you've heard of this before. In a letter to future Union Army General Joseph Weindemeyer, Ingalls wrote, quote, "The preliminaries of the proletarian revolution, the measures that prepare the battleground and clear the way for us, such as a single and indivisible republic." He goes on, even communist Frederick Ingalls understood the importance of an empire being indivisible. That being the case, why has Americans been taught to faithfully proclaim in hypnotic unison that these United States are, quote, one nation, indivisible? That was going during the time when Germany was 260, quote, nations, territories in a sense, and they wanted to unify them. And they asked Ingalls, "What is your dream for this?" And he goes, "One nation." And so the communist, the second hand of Marx said the dream of their idea is to have a unified Germany, one nation Germany. You got a one nation France out of it, one nation Italy out of it, one nation Germany out of it, the one nation after Lincoln of the United States. Anybody that thinks it keeps on going, I promise, you're pushing the communistic idea if you say one nation, this country, all that stuff. The only way to get out of that, decentralization. Only way. We're screwed in the same path. Oh, we're just going to vote harder for every 2 to 4 years for DC. Yeah, you'll get global governance, which is the end game of centralized, quote unquote, nations. Get centralized government in each one, you're going to get the ultra idea. Centralized government is global governance. Mm-hmm. Everyone's been moving to that ever since. It's the way it is. I mean, no one wants sovereignty. And then they'll fight you over it. They'll fight you to the death. This is one. We gotta stand united. No, You stand united. It's the opposite of Franklin. You join or die. No, destroy. Get out or die. This is over. Oh, it's over and over. It's over anyways, unless decentralization happens.
Yeah, the idea and people, it's just a product of brainwashing that you can't, even just the way your red-blooded conservatives use the word nation. Well, we have a problem in our nation. It's like, not a nation. And yeah, even people who are all about it, they're so propagandized, for lack of a better term, that even you'll hear me sometimes in some of my other videos, I'll slip and I'll say nation until I try to correct it back to union, because nobody believes in that. They're fine with the Blobistan. It's one country, just like they did in Italy, just like Steve said with all of that. And papal states before it, and there's never really been an example of a country when it's unified that's actually better off. They'll tell you they're better off. They'll give you the examples that it's better off. But I mean, look at a country like Italy. Is it better off now because it's unified? Now it's subject to the winds of the globalist intentions that are flooding the country. Same with Spain or any of those Mediterranean coastal Greece. Any of those, Greece has been absolutely devastated, both financially and culturally. Financially first by, spending an obscene amount of money for the Olympic Games, and they'll never recover from that. And yet they're trying to bid for like the 2026 ones or whatever. And then the fact that culturally, the NGOs that are being funded to spread diversity throughout all these Mediterranean states, all the way up through there, to the point where France is getting to a point. They talk about a one France, probably within 50 years, it's going to break into two. There's going to be the countryside part of lower France, and then Paris and the northern part, between the French and then the new visitor or the new citizens that live in the major metropolitan areas of France. By design, folks.
That's why they want Brexit. They see that it's coming to centralized government for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the crazy thing, they voted for it, and then the British government was like, nah. They're like, that's cute that you voted for it, but it's just not going to happen.
People go, we want agrarianism. We want to be able to live like that. We want tradition, society, things like what came down from the north? A puritanical, capitalistic society that was all about work. My age, bad Walsh. They take out there, someone takes sick days. Oh, so we're got so-called big dog conservatives all for the puritanical mindset.
Yeah.
So that was a reason why Marx was for Lincoln at that time. It's all these countries got to all these groups became countries. Mm-hmm. They were not supposed to be. They were not the Republic of Naples, the Kingdom of Naples, the Republic of the. Now you have one elected monarch for each of these groups, controlling them from top down, or a court ruling on something. Like here, we got DJ or Kamala. That people literally think one person to rule 320 million people, and they don't think that's nuts. I don't understand how people don't think, that's got to be kind of crazy. You're going to one person, and then they have their audacity to say they want a king.
Yeah, then they start talking about monarchy and all these other kinds of things in there too, and yet they kind of scoff too when you say, well, you're voting for a monarch right now. Well, no, we're not. We're voting for a president. And it's like, well, it's the same thing. Especially at this point, the way it's been delegated.
Edicts by men.
Yep, it's been delegated out that way, and it is sad to see that, because people for European and Western civilization, for the majority of the time, lived in those smaller republics. And then this idea, that's why everybody kind of gets mad at me when I say, yeah, you won World War II, you won the battle, but you lost the war. Because the idea of communism or socialism or whatever you want to call it, won. It won in Italy. It won in France. It won in England. It's winning here. The color revolution is taking place here. You just don't want to admit the fact that it's happening, because it's going to interrupt your Friday night tonight when you watch your Netflix movie and order your Domino's, which, by the way, sounds delicious. But still, it upsets everybody in that regard.
Well, neither one of those wars happen if they don't centralize.
I mean, think about it. also the fact of the matter is those wars were designed to get rid of the monarchies and get rid, like, say whatever you want about the Japanese folks. The Japanese did surrender before we dropped 2 bombs on them. The reason we dropped 2 bombs on the Japanese was to get rid of the emperor. We wanted to get rid of the emperor as the controlling stake in Japan. We wanted a more democratic system in the country of Japan. That's why they wanted to remove that. I know that's not Catholic and all this other stuff, but that idea was still very similar to what we saw in, Western civilization as well. Of course, the Russians, Tsar Nicholas and his family were totally decimated, and all of that. Those brother wars were created to destroy any vestige of Western civilization. And we're thinking it's okay now because we get Big Macs and we have Starlink.
Yep, super big thing. USA chants. They sound cooler than, I guess, NCNC or SCSC or TXTX. But so you get the USA chant. We're the big dog on the. We can go out and put a foot.
We're gonna blow up Niger. We're gonna go blow it up if you don't like us.
I mean, look at what's going on.
People in Texas don't care about Niger. Sorry, we don't want to send like the Texan Air Force to go blow up another country.
And now we got a group, unelected people that are going to vote for you that are outside the constitutional realms of things, and you're just going to have to stand by. Oh, well, I guess we got to have digital ID. We're going to have digital currency. We're going to have mandatory this because you're now part of the global government and the global mindset of healthcare and all this. Nope, it's globalism is the end game of centralization. And centralization is all part of communism. You're looking at communism right now. We have that, as people said. Let me bring that up how many times? I think your boy Church brought it up the first time I heard it. 1920s, the socialist and the communist party parties of the presidential party platforms quit running because, quote, the big ticket ones are already doing what they have. And you look on the checklist, the 10 planks of communism, check. I had a guy, I remember telling a guy, he's like, I'm not going to live in a communist land. Well, you do.
You're in one, right? It was the Pirates of the Caribbean quote. You better start believing in it because you're in it.
Yeah, so. The Nile was not just a river in Egypt. I mean, people don't want to see it. We're like, oh, we're going to vote for Trump because he's anti. Nope, Trump is just as bad on this as everyone else, just a different flavor. How many times he promises unconstitutional things that you can't do? Kamala, same thing. They all do it. And the first day they come out, we're going to dictate by a pen. We got a monarch. You guys want a pen? You guys want a king? Yeah, I got one. And then I get tired of when people say, we want to make this Christian again. Well, you can do it right now at the state level. But we don't have the gumption to get involved, to run, and then go, you know what? We can do that. I mean, how do you think Ecuador did it? You think the entire continent of South America was ran by Garcia Moreno? No. Ecuador.
If you ask some people, they would think that. They would think that because they're fear-mongering enough because he's playing outside of the sandbox. But, yeah, you're right.
And you look at these places, everyone brings up like Hungary. Well, look up the size of Hungary. It's the size of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
What is
and I will, as a Texan, as an honorary Texan, I have to make the point that Texas is bigger than all of Europe, but that's just another thing.
Yeah, and then Texas should break up because it's in their constitution about it's too big. You can't rule too big a thing. If it's too bloated, too big, it's in. You just can't do it. It doesn't work well. If you want something efficient, you want representation, you have to be smaller. Everyone keeps saying smaller, small is beautiful, except when it comes to government. And then we got to have the biggest doggone fat thing in the world. Hey, we got 900,000 representatives to people to one representative. Yeah, that's not representation at all. That's literally doing nothing.
Well, most people are too stupid. They call this thing a democracy. Like it's a threat to our democracy. And it's like, well, you're wrong in that regard, but that's fine. It's almost cliche at this point to be like, we're not a democracy, we're a representative, but nobody even cares about that. Your lower levels of government, your city councils, your governors, they're all minor leagues. They're all prepping to get into the big leagues. They're all trying to get there.
You heard him, Robinson, talk about the southern border.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the southern border of North Carolina? Or are you talking about southern border of the entire union? I mean, what the heck does the southern border of Texas and Arizona have to do with you running North Carolina? Has nothing to do with that.
No, but it's a good talking point. It's a good talking point that people want.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we're wrapping up because I think we're kind of going around and around the same point. Yeah. Now that we ended
enjoy what's coming because we're voting for it.
Yeah. No matter who you are. Once again, we'll take the time to tell you that JD Vance is sponsored by Peter Thiel. And Peter Thiel, he is the wormhole for Peter Thiel and all of his stuff and all of the technocracy that you guys claim to oppose. So that's just kind of coming in there full-throated, as the kids don't say that. But do you want me to go first with Saint of the Week and Cry Room, or do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
All right. So for me, I'm going to go Cry Room first, and my Cry Room is going to be the entire WNBA, highlighted by the mega woman herself, Brittany Griner, who, now that Caitlin Clark is gone and nobody really cares about the WNBA now they can go back to what they love doing, which is race baiting, because apparently now that she's gone, everybody's worried about races. Now there's all these races at these WNBA games because apparently they didn't exist. Well, first of all, they didn't exist because nobody went to your games. But now that they are cheering for the white straight girl and not the lesbian girl who looks like she's a substitute for like an Amazon in a movie, but now that they actually liked seeing a girl who could play basketball instead of tall girls who miss layups. Now it's all racism. She did it. A couple other people have been talking about it, and the WNBA just wants to lose money. They don't want any of this. They just want Caitlin to retire, and they want to go back. They really enjoyed it because it was degeneracy on wheels from state to state to state to state. From arena to arena to arena. So they're just it's not the WNBA, it's the WDEI league. And they're just desperate to get rid of it. They hate money and they're just they want it to go back there. So that's my Cry Room. My Saint of the Week, US Coast Guard. I know that a lot of people give them nonsense. First of all, I have family members that are in the Coast Guard, so I'm partial to them. But the Coast Guard have the best helicopter pilots in the world, bar none, because they go places nobody else goes. And B, you got to love the rescue swimmers that go out when you're in jeopardy. And also, it's one of the few constitutional branches of the government that people get mad about, but it's actually created in a correct and it's actually used properly. But big shout out to the Coast Guard guys out there. Like I said, best helicopter pilots in the world, some of the bravest men and women in the world going out there. When you're in trouble, the greatest sight to see is that red and white Coast Guard or orange and white Coast Guard helicopter, because those guys aren't going to let you, their helicopter's literally going to crash into the water before they give up on you. So shout out to those brave men and women there. So that's my Saint of the Week. And they rescued the dog. So awesome on that.
Poses unreasonable risk
straight
to children, a federal judge rules. The tide is turning. A federal judge rejected the EPA's argument that the exact level at which fluoride is hazardous is too unclear to determine if the chemical presents an unreasonable risk, and ruled the agency must take regulatory action. In a decision that could end the practice of water fluoridation in the U.S., a federal judge late Tuesday ruled the water fluoridation at current U.S. levels poses an unreasonable risk of reduced IQ in children. Wow, shocker. Now, that might seem crazy to some of you guys, but the reality of the situation is that fluoride in its levels currently is at a toxic amount. It's hit a threshold that might be affecting more than just IQ, maybe even other hormonal issues. Now, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency can no longer ignore the risk and must take regulatory action, Judge Edward Chen of the U.S. District Court of Northern District of California wrote in a long-awaited landmark decision. More than 200 million Americans drink water treated with fluoride at the optimal level of 0.7 milligrams per liter. However, Chen ruled that the preponderance of scientific evidence shows that this level of fluoride exposure may damage human health, particularly that of pregnant mothers and young children.
So anyway, that's a great victory. Give it, the federal judge said it. I'm not a big fan of federal judges, but hey, they got one right. Finally. So far, local areas we're trying to get rid of it. I know local like Houston, Portland, I think for southeast Charlotte was trying to get rid of it. And hopefully, they'll end up getting out of it in a total. Also, the England chief medical officer, that's right. We may have overstated the danger of the Rona.
Yeah. Oops.
But where did I have it at? Yes, my cry room is the same topic. The American Dental Association has responded to the court's decision that fluoridation poses an unreasonable risk of developing brains, saying the ruling, quote, provides no scientific basis for the ADA to change this endorsement. Community water fluoridation is safe and beneficial to oral health. Shocker. Quote, old habits die hard. The ADA will be the last group to abandon water fluoridation, their pet project. And that's 100% true. And if you ever go to a dentist and tell them you use toothpaste without fluoride, they look at you like you have 2 teeth coming out of your head. Like, how? Why? You can't. That's their baby. They will not let that one go. But you injected poison. It's in your water in your shower. It's in your food. It's in the water you cook with. Yep. Unless you get a filter, we have a Berkey with a fluoride thing in it. Yep. So we try to use that the whole time, but it's hard to get that out.
It was kind of funny. My wife was making pasta the other night, and she was like, "Give me a cup, put some water in the thing." And I started. She's like, "No, go to the filtered water. It's like soaks into the food. I don't want that water." I'm like, "Oh, that's music to my ears." But
slowly but surely, maybe stuff like that is going to get out. It'd be great to get fluoride out of the water. There's no evidence that it helps your teeth, but they use it anyways.
Yeah, it is. And once again, the American prophet Alex Jones was ahead of this, and talking about gay frogs and all these other kinds of things in that regard. So it is. It is. So it is. But yeah, that's. I think that's going to wrap us up on this Friday edition. Thank you to Steve. He was able to work with me to go to. We were usually go yesterday, but I had some stuff to take care of yesterday, so now we're doing it today. But thanks for hanging out with us on News from the Pew, folks. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, to get the News from the Pew out there. You like the little graphic, folks? Steve didn't even know I put it in there, and now he does. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. We will talk to y'all next week. God bless and viva Cristo Rey. I don't know
the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat. 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 They're eating the dogs, they're